Hello, fishing fans. Welcome to KPM Outdoors Podcast. This is the very first episode in the podcast. Brand new to this. Obviously, don't even have speaker or anything like that. I'm just using a headset with a speaker built in. So, praying that this goes okay. We'll see how it goes. Some of you guys might know me. My name's Kyle Mullins. I am with KPM Fishing on Facebook, Instagram, and then I have a YouTube channel that is called Kyle Mullins KPM Fishing. So go check all those out. Check out the pages. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow me on all the social media stuff. Got a lot coming up for 2022 and some exciting things in the work for 2023, hopefully. But they're just kind of in the works. We're not anywhere close to finalizing them yet. But like I said, this is a brand new podcast that I decided to start just for, I guess, bringing local coverage or some sort of talk with around local events in Oklahoma. At least that's where we're going to start. I named the podcast KPM Outdoors for two reasons. A, you can relate the KPM piece back to me and the KPM fishing pages. But the outdoors piece, I didn't want to label the podcast fishing because I didn't want to just strictly talk about fishing because I'm an avid hunter. Some of my friends and stuff that will be on as guests are avid hunters, and I wanted to open that door to possibly be able to talk about hunting as well. So that's the reason it's KPM Outdoors, not KPM Fishing. So now that that's been explained, we'll get on into a little bit of the podcast. Um, yeah, it's brand new. I'm looking forward to the adventure. I'm going to try and do one episode a week if I can, depending on work. My goal is to do so. The format, the goal is talk about pretty much anything fishing related or an occasional hunting topic if we do hunting some. But most of it's going to be based around fishing. So it's going to be anything from tips and tricks for different baits or tips and tricks for a lake here local or anywhere across the country. Actually, I mean, if somebody wants to talk about a lake in the southeast or out west or whatever, we can talk about whatever. But um, the whole purpose is tips and tricks, mainly to help you guys with your fishing, help the fans with fishing, maybe give some insight to things that they didn't know or something that they could try to do on their next outing to help them put more fish in the boat. The other thing I want to do is there is very little coverage on local tournaments around the Oklahoma area. So we've got some fairly big team trails. We've got a big one called Nichols Team Trail. They don't fish anything but grand, but they've always got like 300 boats. We've got Skeeter XFLs. They fish various lakes across the state, mainly on the east side. It draws about 200 boats, 250 boats. And then we have two team trails that are both bass sanctioned events that qualify for the Bass Team Championship through them. So I was actually lucky enough to qualify for the Bass Team Championship in 2021. Unfortunately, me and my partner weren't able to go due to me and my wife have impeccable timing, and we had our first child due the week after the tournament. So unfortunately, I didn't get to go, and my partner decided he wasn't going to go since I couldn't. So we're going to requalify next year. So the goal is to talk about those two team trails, which is Angler Nation and then the Tulsa Southside Hookers event. Then we'll throw in the Skeeters and the Nichols. We'll try and talk about at least those four, hopefully every week once tournament season started. So tournament season don't start here for another roughly a month, a little over a month. So um, we may not get into any of the tournament stuff until then, obviously, and we might not get one episode every week until tournament season started. Mainly so I can kind of get things in line, get some of my guests in line, and line some people up to join us to talk about different things from, like I said, from anywhere from tips and tricks to talk about boats or gear or just tournament recaps, and kind of what's going on here in the Oklahoma area and potentially in the fishing industry, um, like what we know about the fishing industry, which is for the most part, outside info. We don't really have any inside info, but we can talk about new gear coming out, things like that. That's what I'm talking about by the industry. So, that's about all I got, guys. This first podcast is going to be a short episode. It was really just to introduce myself, Kyle Mullins, KPM Fishing. Go follow KPM Fishing on Facebook and Instagram, and also KPM Fishing or Kyle Mullins KPM Fishing on YouTube. Go subscribe to the channel. I'll be posting all these podcasts on YouTube. So that way, if we're talking about baits or something like that, and we have stuff to show and demonstrate, you will be able to see it. Like we can hold it up and show it to you, and you'll kind of be able to get a visual, and it won't all be just voice. You won't just have to listen to us. So, a couple things. Podcast, we couldn't do this without a couple sponsors. We do have a couple sponsors that are helping us. One of those is Elk River Jigs. Some of you guys may have never heard of them. They are a high quality hand tied custom made jig in Northeast Oklahoma, right here in Broken Arrow. You won't find a better jig on the market. They make just about everything. They've got football jigs, brush jigs, finesse jigs. What else do they got? Flipping jigs, swim jigs. They have an Arky jig. The Arky head jig is not listed on their website yet, so it's not quite available yet. They offer tungsten weights, shaky heads, and what we call TKOs, or a wobble head is what it's known by in the industry. So go to elkriverjigs.com, check out the Elk River Jigs page, pick you up some goodies. Season's right around the corner, and everybody loves to throw a jig, right? The other sponsor of this podcast that I can't leave out is Amphibia Eye Gear. I've been wearing Amphibia for probably 10 years now. I used to be a huge Costa fan and also was an Oakley fan at one time. And man, when I switched to Amphibia, I've never looked back. Mainly because they float. I mean, what fisherman doesn't want a pair of sunglasses that floats? I mean, my problem with any of the other pair was if I accidentally knocked them off my head or dropped them in the lake, straight to the bottom. Forget it. They're gone. So that's what really set Amphibia apart with me to start with, because there was many times that I'd drop them in the lake and they'd just be floating. I could just bend over and get them and put them back on or dry them off or whatever I wanted to do with them. So check out Amphibia Eye Gear. You won't be disappointed. They make fantastic eye gear. So, and most of their frames have an option to be ANSI rated. So anybody that works in a place where they need safety glasses, they are ANSI rated. So you can use them as certified safety glasses in most cases. So that's the two sponsors of the podcast for now. I'm trying to get us some more so we can get this thing really going and get all the right equipment. That way I don't have to keep using this headset. So, like I said, guys, follow the podcast. Go check out KPM Fishing on YouTube, KPM Fishing on Instagram, Facebook. And we'll get this thing rolling, especially once tournament season starts here in about a month. We will make sure that we try and shoot a podcast every week. Even if I have to pass the envelope off to one of my buddies to co-host or host it for me because I can or something. There are some guys that are going to be helping us out with this podcast too. I'll go ahead and mention them. Some of you guys may know Zach Van Kulen, also known as ZVK Fishing on social media. So go check out ZVK Fishing on social media. Another good buddy of mine, Brendan McDonald, he'll be helping us out some. And then my team partner, Jimmy Thomas, on Instagram, I believe he's under @TheWayItIsOutdoors or something like that. So check him out as well. But if there's a week, once tournament season starts, to do this every week, if I can't host it, I will pass the baton off and have one of those guys. And that way we get a podcast out every week. So, and those guys will probably join me most weeks. I'll have one of them on, so it's not just me that you have to listen to the whole time. So, like I said, short episode. enjoy the podcast, guys. Send us requests. If there's something specific you want us to talk about, please let us know. I would love to do specific topics based around what you guys want to talk about. Obviously, with Elk River Jigs being one of the sponsors, we will probably do an episode based around jigs, jig fishing, and one of those guys will probably, if not all three of those guys, will join me in that podcast so we can help share each other's tricks, because there's things that I'm going to do with a jig that Zach doesn't do, and Brendan will do things that neither one of us do. So we'll get some things like that going. And like I said, send us comments, send me an email, whatever. Tell me something you want to talk about, and we will make it happen. So until the next podcast, like I said, I'm going to try and do one every week, but we may not get to the every week thing until tournament season starts in a month or so. So until then, enjoy and tight lines, guys. Get on the water.